Now, as you would expect, Warwickshire County Council have strong views about HS2, as the proposed line goes right through the middle of their county. Councillor Bob Stevens is the Deputy Leader of the Council and portfolio holder for HS2, and he joins me now. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
What's the Council's view on HS2?
I think, first of all, I'd like to say that we debated in the Council 10 days ago, and in fact unanimously carried that we should continue to oppose HS2, and but at the same time talk to them in order to gain the best mitigation should the railway actually happen.
So what was the vote? What was the vote on that?
There were only 3 people who did not support that motion of the whole council.
All right. Well, they were in favour, or did they abstain?
They abstained, I think.
They abstained. OK. Why is Warwickshire County Council so against it?
Well, I think basically we do not see any benefit for Warwickshire as such. But secondly, we do think that the people of Warwickshire very much are against it. And it's up to us to support what they are thinking. There is little economic benefit to Warwickshire. In fact, there will be, as somebody mentioned over there earlier on, there will be lost jobs rather than gained jobs, I think, as it goes.
That's not what the argument the Transport Secretary was giving this morning. He's saying that there's a real economic benefit to HS2 and that there will be jobs for people. You're laughing.
Yeah, well, yes, he would say that, wouldn't he? I'm sorry, I don't believe that the jobs would be there because of HS2. They'll be there despite HS2. Right. And I think the expansion will happen and the growth will happen. Let's face it, we're talking about 20 years' time. Who knows what's going to happen in 20 years' time?
Spending all this money on HS2, you're...
£60 million per mile.
Right, OK. HS2, you're saying, is a waste of money, particularly when you're having to make cuts.
Very true. We're making £92 million worth of cuts this year, and we've made £60 million over the last 3 years, which is your £150 million per mile. Mm. So two miles of HS2 pays for a year's county council budget.
Yeah, that comes as a shock, doesn't it?
I see. So it's yeah.
How would you best, because I want to put this in context, how would you best, if someone was parachuting into Warwickshire, how would you best describe it as a county?
Warwickshire it's a very diverse county. It's got the northern end, which of course is adversely affected very much so by some of the proposals, which is old mining area and slightly more industrial, and then the southern area, which has always been rural and agricultural. Hence the name of this ward here, Feldon Division, which is the Anglo-Saxon word for rolling fields.
Right. So, given that, and given the way that Warwickshire is structured, what disruption does the County Council anticipate with HS2?
Quite a horrendous disruption. If I can just quote a few figures, there are going to be 27 parishes affected, 43 viaducts built, 37 new bridges, 43 highway junctions, 7 main and 74 satellite construction sites, 7 accommodation sites, as well as heritage sports grounds, and, of course, sites of special interest that have already been mentioned being affected.
You think there'll be around 1,000 who will come into the county to work?
Oh, at least that, I suggest. And, of course, it's where they're going to live may well prove a problem. But about the disruption, it's going to be the number of roads that are going to be closed. And I heard your interviews earlier this morning around Southam. 3 of the main roads into Southam will be shut, blocked or diverted during the construction phase, which isn't weeks, it's years.
How much support would Warwickshire County Council get? Because clearly this impacts on the county hugely, and how you're going to organise all of that disruption.
I think that's a very good point. The disruption will be managed by our highway engineers at, of course, a cost, which has got to come out of the restricted budget as well. We estimate it would be a cost of something like £400,000 a year. Now, HS2 are, in fact, contributing a paltry amount to it.
How much do you know?
At the moment, we've had about 12,000 from them.
So where are you going to find the extra money from?
Well, we'll have to find it from the council tax and or cutting other services.
So do you envisage services which you're already having to cut anyway? How much in terms percentage-wise have you had to make so far?
Overall in the county, it's something like 25%.
OK, so because the funding you're saying that is not going to be sufficient, you would have to find that money from other services. So as Deputy Leader of the County Council, do you envisage cuts made to people's services in Warwickshire to help fund the construction inconvenience that's happening in Warwickshire?
I think yes is the answer to that. There'll be minimal compared to some of the other costs, but yes, there will be disruption and cuts to Warwickshire. It equates to, I think, 1/4% of the council tax. So if we were to put council up by, say, 2%, a quarter of that 2% would be going towards HS2 costs.
Have you put all these points to the government, and have you put these points to those organising HS2, and what has their response been?
Yes, I've actually been down to see the minister, 3 different ministers. I've been for a number of ministers on this scheme.
Yes, and there will be more.
Who knows? There's a reshuffle today. Mind you, that's not ministerial level. Yes, when I put it to the present minister, he actually was quite surprised it was that much would have had effect on the...
The minister didn't know what the financial impact would be?
No, I handed him an invoice and he handed it straight to the HS2 man and said, sort that out.
Have they said and given any indication that the county will get financial support so it doesn't have to come out of the coffers of people's council tax?
No, the answer has been to the contrary. If anything, we've struggled to get what we've got to date.